Now, for a minute, I want to talk to. I grew up in a home with my mother and my stepfather, but the godly influence in my life was my grandparents, and they were the ones that kept me in church and raised me up in the things of God. And I was raised by them, or influenced by them, to respect seniors and elderly. You'll never hear me call someone old enough to be my mother or grandmother by their first name. It's usually mother so-and-so, lady so-and-so, miss so-and-so. And I'm from up north, from New York, so we really were raised to say Mrs. so-and-so, Mr. so-and-so. But for a minute, if you'll indulge me, I'm going to address all of the older, wiser women in the room. And I want to talk to you for a moment. Naomi, I believe, had a heart that said, I'm too old. I'm done. God's finished with me. There's nothing left for me to do. She said in verse 13 and 14, the Lord's hand is against me. My time is done. And so her concern was for the daughter-in-laws. But here's what I love about God. My grandparents used to say to me, well, my eyes open today, it must mean God's got something for me to do. Amen? And so what I love about God is He doesn't care what age you are. As long as your eyes are open, God has something for you to do. And so I want to encourage the older, wiser women in this room. God is not done with you. You know, oftentimes women are afraid to say their ages. I'm almost 46. I'm not afraid to say my age. We shouldn't be afraid to say our age. We should celebrate our age. 40, 50, 30, 20, 80, 70, 90, 100, whatever it is. Celebrate your age. Because in God's eyes, you're beautiful, you're valuable, you're important to the kingdom, and as long as your eyes are open, whether you have children or not, God has a purpose for you, and there's someone for you to influence. Amen. In a godly way. Amen? Amen? But sometimes what happens is, you know, my husband has a toolbox, and, you know, when we moved here 4.5 years ago to Florida, and he went and got some new tools and everything, and you know, the tools are real shiny when they're new. Put them in that toolbox, they look real nice. Now, I didn't mind him bringing them in the kitchen to set up all his stuff. I didn't mind that because, you know, brand spanking new out of the bag from Lowe's. Everything's fine. But after he put those tools to use for a while, I didn't want those tools in the house on the kitchen counter. You got to work with that outside. But sometimes we feel that way. We look at those tools and we think, you know, those tools are worn. They're used, they're dirty. No, those tools, if I were to look at those tools, I would think, listen, when my husband brought them, they had a purpose. They were shiny new, but they had a purpose. And as he put them to work in their purpose, they became a little worn, a little used, a little dirty. But you know what? He hasn't run back out to get any new tools. Amen. Why? Because those tools are still good, and they're still performing their purpose. Amen. And I speak that over each one of you. Okay? And Naomi really needed to feel that God's hand was still with her and that there was a purpose. She had no idea the way she was influencing Ruth's life and what destiny Ruth would have and what legacy it would leave for the rest of us. Well, we know the backdrop of the story. Ruth and Naomi went on and traveled back toward Judah. And of course, I'm sure in Ruth's mind, she's thinking, I'm a Moabite woman. And those sisters there are not going to accept me. They're not going to receive me. They're not going to be kind to me, even though I'm Naomi's daughter. And sometimes we, as Christians, as women of God, as daughters, we need to kind of check out the way we treat each other. Amen? We need to look at how we act toward each other, you know. It's when people are looking and when people are not looking, because who's always looking? God. So we need to be careful about putting our tongue on each other or being unkind to each other or rolling our eyes or giving each other a little look. That's not pleasing to God. And I'm sure that in Ruth's mind she was thinking, they don't know me, they have no idea my love for my mother-in-law, and you know what, they may mistreat me, but I'm still going to go forward. I'm still going with Naomi. I'm still going with my mother-in-law. And I want to encourage you all today, look forward. If somebody's not loving on you the way you should be loved on, get your love from Abba. You go in the presence of God and let him love on you. Amen? That's the most important thing.